Hello, it's Mrs. Tagg again. I've got my red bag. Let's see what Christmas story we're gonna hear. How about this one right here? Merry Christmas, Mr. Mouse. And it's written by Carolyn Bunier and Mark Bunier. Merry Christmas, Mr. Mouse, it's called. There he is. He's looking at all the ornaments. Once a raggedy little alley mouse heard an encouraging tale that a warm spot beneath the kitchen stove had just gone up for sale. So Mr. Mouse moved off the streets and settled under the floor with his dear wife and 17 children in nook number 24. There you see? See all those little ones coming up? Mr. Mouse gathered sock fuzz for bedding and crumbs from cracks in the floor, while Mr. Mouse found the best passaways when he went out to explore. One day as he ran, he saw something new and started in puzzled delight as an evergreen tree was brought inside and covered with twinkling lights. The house smelled of ginger and peppermint as Mr. Mouse sniffed the air. He peeked out of the trays of cookies were baked in the kitchen just upstairs. Mr. Mouse and his wife watched the gatherings of family and friends all night, with dancing and singing and games and gifts, everything merry and bright. Mrs. Mouse whispered, "Why light up a tree? Why dance and give and gifts and sings? What makes this night special? Can you find out why they are doing these things?" So Mouse crept up by the fireplace and listened to the story of shepherds and wise men seeking a child and the angels streaming glory. Mouse learned that on midnight long ago was born the Lord of the earth, and the lights and the songs of the giving were to celebrate his birth. Then he heard about how Santa checking his list of the naughty and nice, and he wondered if Santa Claus ever had the thought to bring gifts to a family of mice. Mr. Mouse quietly crept back downstairs and told what he had heard above. "All that fussing upstairs is for Christmas, and Christmas means joy and love." Then Mrs. Mouse smiled. "I have a grand idea, and this is just what we'll do. We'll put up a tree in our little nook, and we'll celebrate Christmas too." Not a creature was stirring late that night except for the mouse and his wife, who were putting the finishing touches on the Christmas made for mice. Just to be safe, Mr. Mouse tied a bow to the neck of the sleeping cat, then scurried from room to borrow a little of this and that. He dragged everything back to their mouse hole while humming a Christmas tune, and bustling worked to set it all up until he transformed the room. A small sprig of pine and a bit of a string made a perfect Christmas tree, and the glow in the dark star all at the top shone bright for all to see. Mr. Mouse had, Mrs. Mouse had been sewing pajamas, the first pair for everyone. Mr. Mouse brought down scraps of bright paper to wrap them when she was done. They covered the matchbox with foil to make a table for treats, and gathered up piles of gingerbread crumbs and candy cane bits to eat. Mr. Mouse whispered, "It's time to begin." The children poured through the door. They'd never been such an excitement before in the nook, number 24. Mrs. Mouse passed out all the packages to joyful cries of surprise. When the children saw their pajamas, they couldn't believe their eyes. They ate all the crumbs and sung Christmas songs, and then by the firelight, Mr. Mouse told the children the story about the first Christmas night. Each mouse had a miniature stocking to hang on a little hook, just in case Santa Claus knew about mice and found his way to their nook. Mrs. Mouse and the children went to bed. After the cleanup was done, Mr. Mouse fell asleep in his chair and didn't hear Santa come. He woke of a sudden on Christmas Day to his children's shout and glee. Each stocking was stuffed with chocolate chips and a little bit of cheese. Then Mr. Mouse saw the box at his feet, and Mrs. Mouse had one too. Inside was a top hat, and shiny and black. She had a soft scarf of blue. Mrs. Mouse gave a kiss to Mr. Mouse. "A Merry Christmas, my dear. I have an idea, and I hope you'll agree. Let's celebrate every year." There's always a party at Christmas time, and there's one underneath the floor where Mr. and Mrs. Mouse celebrate in the nook, number 24. Look, the cat's up on top listening to them. They're in their little nook, their little house. Remember, they lived out on the streets, and then they came inside just in time for Christmas. Christmas will soon be here. I hope you're having a great time. Bye-bye.